Dynatrace simplifies cloud complexity with deep observability, intelligence and automation, and application security, all in one powerful open platform. This is the cloud done right, brought to you by Dynatrace.
Yeah, everybody, welcome along to Bhubaneswar in India as the fourth day of action here in the City of Temples gets underway, or carries on, I should say, because this is the second of our two matches, and it is the hosts, India, who are up against Australia. Well, it's been a tough start for India so far in this Pro League. But, they'll look to try and give their home fans something to cheer about. Get themselves up and running, trying to deal with that disappointment of not qualifying for the Olympic Games in Paris this summer. No such troubles for Australia, who will be in the French capital. Attention now on getting the win here. Well, the top scorer is well dominated by the Dutch Jibbe Janssen. Leads the way. She has 9, 1 from open play, 5 from penalty corners, 3.
Welcome to Raukala. Raukala's steel plant locally is known as the pride of Odisha. The Birsa Munda Hockey Stadium, where we are today, in the 100th year of the FIH, the pride of not just hockey in India, but the hockey world too. The future of hockey should look like that, doesn't it look resplendent? Australia, currently world number 3, having dropped one place this week, played China, currently world number 8. Having risen in the rankings, one place this week. China beat Australia earlier in the competition, 3-0. Caitlin Nobbs practicing her Aussie rules football as Australia look to get back to winning ways on a hockey pitch against this Chinese team that really have dominated form-wise against Australia in recent times. China sits second in the FIH Pro League as it stands. The only loss coming against the Australians, the same as Australia. However, they lost to China too, of course. Jibbe Janssen sits top of the goal scorers. Now, just for reference, Freaky Mosh has 6 behind her. Pien Dicker has 5. Frederica Matler has 4. Faye van der Elst has 4. I could go on. They're all Dutch goal scorers chasing Jibbe Janssen. Head-to-head between these two. Australia might be 12-6 in advantage in the last 10 years. But China haven't lost in regulation time since the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, which of course gives a slight false sense of optimism for China, because that was actually in 2021 and it was 6-0 to Australia. Australia won both Pro League matches in 2019, but since they haven't won in regulation time. They have won a couple of shootouts, though. This was last time the two teams played, as Australia looked to pepper the goal of Lee early on, but then the goals started to come. Yuan Meng bursting the ball through for 1-0. A well-taken goal, and there were a number of well-taken goals by the Chinese. Yuan Hu scoring that one. And then there she was again. Yuan Meng once more. A blistering shot into the bottom left-hand corner. 3-0. Who will they be cheering for more today? The local school children. in to watch. We're now going to hear from both coaches. Alison Annan unwell today. We hope she gets better very soon. Rick Charlesworth will be standing in. Let's hear from the two coaches.
Katrina, welcome to the mighty Birsa Munda. Considering you have faced China before, you faced a defeat against them. Are there any strategic adjustments or improvements you're planning this time around?
Yeah, look, I think they caught us on the hop, our first international game for the year, and we feel better prepared for this one. And certainly have looked at plenty of vision from that match, and yeah, we're aiming to play better in ourselves. Our processes do what we need to do.
Thank you so much. All the best for the game.
Thank you.
So how's the team feeling after the success in the last game against India? And considering that Australia is going to come hard at you this time around, how are you planning to replicate this success?
Well, we understand that Australia is a very strong team. They're ranked much higher than us. We know it'll be difficult. For China, this is a long journey. We are improving. We're working on our game. We have to do the things that we want to do well. If we do that, then we'll play well. If we play well, then we'll get a result that we want.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All the best for the game, sir.
Thank you.
Rick Charlesworth, of course, former mentor of Trini Pout, former World Cup gold medalist, 1986 in his playing days. Silver medalist in the Olympics against New Zealand, Montreal 76. He then took the Hockeyroos to the highest heights of the world game. And the Kookaburras too afterwards. He's done it all. And now he's standing in for Alison Annan, who was playing when Rick Charlesworth was coach of the Australian team, and the assistant coach steps in. They have a fabulous backroom staff. China have a pretty good squad developing here, and they currently are going along very nicely in this season. That one loss coming against the Netherlands 3-1. They've beaten Australia 3-0 here. They've beaten India a couple of times. But the Hockeyroos know they're not far away. There's this chasing pack behind Dutch hockey in the women's game. The Dutch setting the world standard, and a number of teams below that, all knowing that medals, maybe not gold, but medals very much could be on the horizon in the future. Shri Lakshman Munda will emanate, accompanied by Shri B.M. Bhushan, the Joint Director of Hockey India. Comes out onto the blue turf, welcomed by the umpires, and Caitlin Nobbs, and the umpires for this, Junko Wagatsuma, 95th senior international for her. Martin Madden, it's his 168th outdoor international match, just his third women's international. We'll now have the national anthems of the two teams, Australia followed by China.
And please remain standing for the national anthem of China. आप सभी से गुजारिश करना चाहेंगे कि आप चाइना के राष्ट्रगान के लिए खड़े रहें।
The national anthems are done. This stadium looks absolutely stunning as they confirm what's heads and what's tails. Elephant-themed coin. China win the toss. Caitlin Nobbs says we'll stay exactly where we are. Well wishes offered. Two teams that are really getting to know each other very well indeed. Since Alison Annan came to post with Australia, with China, sorry for the slip, all Australia have managed is 2 shootout bonus point victories after 2 draws. That's their best results. In goal, Bartram, Sharman, Somerville, Colwell and Young are back 4 for the Hockeyroos. Lawton, Caitlin Nobbs and Beck Greiner. Midfield 3. The Trini Powell's team. Arnott, player of the match earlier on in the competition. Stewart and Maddie Brooks. Relatively inexperienced up top. The centre forward on the bench. Newman, Malone, 99 caps for her. Shand, Kershaw, Claxton, Stewart. Williams comes in for the first time since the Oceania Cup. 121 caps if she plays today. Hails from Parks in New South Wales. Made her debut back in April of 2013. China start with Ye Zhao in goal on her 98th career appearance for China. Gu Bingfeng out. Li Hong and Chen Tong come in to a back 4. Yang Lui, Ma Ning, Zhang Ying. Guan Meng in the goals against Australia last time. Lua Hua and Huang Haiyan come in. The crowd are being warmed up. Li Danwen, Zhou Mei Rong, He Jianqing, Zhong Jiaqi, Tan and Yu, who scored against Australia in the 3-0 win, on the bench that will face Trini Powell's team. A steadying hand on this Australian ship. Trini Powell now, former great player, trying to get Australia to continue their form under Powell after success when they came back from COVID at the World Cup and Commonwealth Games too. After a Tokyo, it didn't quite go the way they wanted out of the top 4. Welcome along to the action at the Bursamunda in Raakala. It is the FIH Pro League. Australia against China. 2 teams who sit second, China, and third, Australia, in the Pro League. But the Aussies have a game in hand, although they have a 6-point disadvantage on the team in red. Australia losing twice, winning a couple so far. Play on, says the umpire. Lovely spin from Stewart. It's had to wait. My name's Dan Strange. Shifra Murdoch, Irish under-21, under-22 and senior squad member alongside me. Shifra, do you think that China will have it their own way? Well, they didn't have it their own way in the first match, but they won relatively comfortably. Trini Powell said before the game she felt that sort of almost they caught them a bit cold. Do you think that that could be the same again today?
I think that's probably not doing China the justice that they deserve as the squad that's playing in this Pro League. They've shown that they can keep up with some of the best teams out there. They've held the Dutch only 3-1. They've beaten teams like Australia and India and have really shown that they are a force to be reckoned with. So I think that they're not a side to be taken lightly. And hopefully this will be a good match. I mean, Australia now certainly can't be claiming to be taken out cold at this stage of the series, so...
You only have to look at the Australian coaching staff. 3 current or former, there's Taiki Taikama, head coaches of international teams. Former drag flicking great, there he is, Taiki. You know, they brought in Adrian Locke, former Spanish coach, Rick Charlesworth, who's won more World Cups than you or I could probably think about, and Olympic medals as well in his coaching career, and Olympic silver in his playing days. And when you bring that ethos into a squad, and the beauty that they have as well with this Chinese team is they have a lot of time with the players back in China, working hard behind the scenes. It, as you say, doing an injustice if anyone thinks that China are a team to be in any way taken lightly, and they've proved that in the last few years very much so. As forward come Australia once more, carries Somerville, making her way towards 40 caps now. Somerville, 38th cap today for a player who turns 25 in April, as Li looks on. The other Chinese goalkeeper in the squad. Down the line goes Zhong Jiaqi, beautifully outdoes Nobbs, still going. And out comes Joss Bartram to make sure there was no way for Jiaqi, who quite enjoys shots from the sideline. If I remember rightly, it was her that scored at Olympic Park in Sydney last season from that sort of angle on this side. Here she is once more. Jiaqi drops it inside. Quite end-to-end already. Dan Wen.
Definitely, both sides come out with quite a bit of intensity in this match so far.
The thing we've mentioned before, you mentioned it on your first day of commentary, and I know it was mentioned in the game the other day between the two, but China and India tend to nullify each other. Australia and China don't really, because they both play against each other, quite attacking, quite fast-paced, quite fun hockey. Nice ball into the circle, played quickly by Alice Arnott. And then out, offloads to Gu Bingfeng, who's been in the goals in this competition. Rosie Malone, and that shot from Greiner just eased away by Yeaton. Goal.
It's a great tackle there by Malone. Feeds a nice little ball through. Cheeky enough attempt, but quite easily batted away there.
The thing is, you absolutely go for those sort. We saw Hardick in the Men's Pro League the other day at the Bhubaneswar at the Kalinga score through the legs of the goalkeeper from that sort of angle. In fact, it was a little bit more acute, and it was basically just a first-time shot. The keeper wasn't expecting it, and then it snuck.
It's quite a difficult adjustment for a keeper who's standing, having to be aware of the baseline threat.
Malone. Out comes your Zhao once more. Greiner was there and allowed the ball to drift out to play for the long corner. Good start for Trini Powell's team.
Nice against the grain ball there, but just nobody on the other end to pick it up, really.
Ball hit away.
Relieve a bit of pressure.
Of course, for China at the Asian Games, it really threw the cat amongst the pigeons when they lost in the pool stages. Put them up against India in the semi-finals. As we see Malone's ball forward, Yi Jiao, a very steady pair of hands in goal. The flexibility there. And of course, China were the team from Asia who took the #1 spot in Hangzhou. Australia won their way through the Oceania Cup, beating New Zealand, who then had to go to Ranchi to try and qualify. Didn't do so. Of course, if you're wondering where New Zealand women's team are this season, they decided to step away from the Pro League to rebuild. Which gave USA another chance to play this year. The USA qualifying from Ranchi for Paris. Currently played 5, lost 5. The Dutch stats, which I've got sat in front of me, Schifra, rather scary. 9 games played, 47 goals scored already. And I was reading through at the top of the programme the individual goal scorers. Look out when the Dutch play for Jibbe Janssen. She'll have a purple, almost mauve armband on, which represents the top goal scorer in the competition. The top 7 goal scorers in the top of the women's goal scoring charts at the moment are Dutch, and 8 of the top 9. The next nearest are Dan Wen and Gu Bingfeng on 3, which is the same as Burke and Fokker. It is
It's a bit of a Dutch show at the moment. Sort of the Netherlands world and everyone else is living in it.
It's getting to the point, you know, do we need to start putting almost like horse racing, a handicapping system in place, you know? Let them wear a weights vest or... Right, you're this good. How do we balance it out? Right, you've got to play hockey with, I don't know, 3 stone. In a weights vest running around the pitch as well. Warm work, America. But, you know, you look at it. Against Australia, they won 6-2. Against Argentina, they won 7-1. Record goal scoring against Great Britain, 8-0. And what we're seeing at the moment in the women's game is you've got, as you said, it's the Dutch world and everyone else is living in it. But there are teams below, and these are 2 of them, who are then burgeoning for silver or bronze, probably. And I'm not in any way doing down these teams, but there's Mariah Williams coming in today. But they are essentially, in everyone's mind, in terms of the media and the fans thinking and looking and watching the game, competing for silver or bronze. But that would be a huge achievement. You know, if China go and get silver at Paris, which, if they have a good tournament, there's nothing to say they couldn't.
Exactly.
That's a massive achievement.
It's definitely feeling like the gold medal is sort of set at this stage, but there is a whole host of teams, like we say, in that silver bronze position. There's probably 6 or 7 that are really capable, and it will depend on the day. And so while there is sort of a horse quite far out front in terms of the race, it's not to say that there won't be excitement behind. And it just feels also at the moment that the Dutch are just a few years ahead. It means maybe sort of for the Pro League and for the Olympics they might be well situated, but I wouldn't put it past any of these teams to catch up in the next few years.
Into the circle go China. Bartram watches it again. Yeah, when you look at the Pro League, and of course India won't be at the Olympics, but Spain will. They on their day can be very tricky opposition under new management currently. May wrong, lovely ball forward, slider. Here goes Zhang Ying. Malone, sorry, dancing in the stands 2 days ago, enjoying the tour. And it goes from Lawton, finds Stewart, the most experienced forward starting for Australia today. Changes coming on both sides for lining up. Claire Colwell gets the ball and can restart from just inside. You can see the GPS tracker on just the back of her, just above her name. The bump on the back allows the analysts to check how much players are running. Saw one fall out in a game recently.
Really?
Yeah, she had to return it to the
I think
bench.
That'd be great. I'd be able to go off. You missed all of my high-speed meters. All 12 kilometres I ran in that match.
Yeah, we ran up and down the sidelines for a good 3K just to help the player out. We lost it. As Nobbs picks up and plays it down the sideline. Scored a field goal recently. Rare occurrence in the exceptional career of Caitlin Nobbs. Steady from Australia. Then the slip, and it allows China to impose themselves to some degree as back goes Grace Young. Recovers well. Ball pace wasn't brilliant, and China steal the ball back through Zhang Ying. Hey, mixing ball. Zhang inside, well played. Nicely back by Stewart once more. You ever played Australia or China in your international career, under 21, under 22?
No, I haven't actually. We don't often get the opportunity. The World Cups are kind of the only time we tend to come across sides like this. I've played more European sides than I can remember, but haven't had the chance to take on either of them. It's interesting though how different the styles of hockey can be in different countries. So we see a lot of the European sides tend to play a similar game. Australia may be a bit closer to that. China plays a slightly different game. It's a little bit more structured maybe, and then say Spain would be. But the different hockey cultures really come out on the international stage.
Yeah, I mean, China's, you definitely see the influence of the merger of thinking between Dutch and Australian hockey, don't you, with the time Alison Annan spent in the Netherlands, also her playing career.
Definitely.
Playing for Australia.
It makes this a very interesting matchup as well because they do, as you were saying, play quite complementary styles of hockey. They don't neutralise each other. In the opening 13 minutes, I think we've been on both ends of the pitch, up and back. The players, those GPSs are going to have lots of numbers at this stage.
Colwell. Patience from Australia. Tatum Stewart back to Colwell, who just sits and waits and doesn't rush. Greiner. Just an attacking force through midfield. Very experienced now, that Greiner. 60th cap today from Bundaberg.
This is a nice bit of build-up play from Australia. Sort of the first of it we've really seen.
Kershaw bounces it off Gu Bingfeng's foot and gets on a bike knowing that she was 5 metres out from the circle. Ye Jiao got that all wrong, surely. I thought there was going to be a penalty corner called straight away there because it seemed to be underneath Ye Jiao. Back it comes to Kershaw. Now, is this the umpire's referral?
What's your question? Sorry?
No, it's
Okay.
Australia's referral.
Yeah, Tomo?
Go ahead.
David
Yeah,
Tomlinson.
I have played nothing, but Australia asking for obstruction.
Okay, so we're looking for obstruction in the circle.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Kiwi voice of Dave Tomlinson.
And the ball does seem to have popped out the other side.
So they're looking for obstruction was the question. And it came from Arnott behind the goalkeeper. So this angle.
மருமகளே, காலையில எங்க போயிட்டு இருக்க?
பாட்டி, அம்மாவுக்கு வேலை அதிகமாயிடுச்சு.
ครับเข้าบอลได้ดีแล้วกฤษณะเจ็บด้วยนะครับข่าวสิทธิ์มีหยุดดูนิดนึงยังไงครับจะลุกหรือว่าจะนั่งสุดท้ายธีรทรบอกให้เตะทิ้งออกไปก่อนครับน่าจะลักษณะตะคริวขึ้นนะครับแบบนี้
นี่ครับดูจังหวะของกฤษณะนี่ครับพยายามที่ดึงบอลแล้วไปเสียจังหวะไปลื่นด้วยนะครับโหลื่นแล้วว่าเสียจังหวะไปตะคริวขึ้นเลยครับกฤษณะเกษมคุณวิไลเนี่ยยิงไป3 ประตูนะครับให้กับสุโขทัย FC แฟนบอลของบุรีรัมย์เดวิดที่ชอบนะครับทางสโมสรสอตายครับ
พอยิ้มออกหน่อยนะครับผลงานตั้งแต่ช่วงท้ายเลกแรกนะครับของบุรีรัมย์ยูไนเต็ดและเห็นกองหน้าตัวใหม่ใน2 นัด 2 ประตูนี่ก็แบบนี้ก็น่าจะพึงพอใจนะครับผลงานของเกียร์แมบิโซลี่แต่ลูคัสคิสปริมเนี่ยเดี๋ยวต้องไปเคลียร์กันนะจบเกมนะฮะต้องบอกนิดนึงว่าสอบแบบนี้ไม่ได้เลยครับ
จังหวะที่ได้ประตูขึ้นนำนะครับของบุรีรัมย์ยูไนเต็ดนะครับเกียร์แมบิโซลี่นะครับยังโชคดีที่ไปเข้าทางเขาอีกครั้งนึงครับก็ยิงซ้ำเข้าไปครับแต่ว่าแนวรับของสุโขทัยจะมาขวางแล้วก็ไม่อยู่ครับนี่ครับขึ้นมาเล่นได้ต่อนะครับแต่ว่าข้างสนามมันจะมีการขยับตัวผู้เล่นอีก1 คนนะครับของสุโขทัย FC ครับ
กำลังจะเข้าสู่ช่วง20 ปีสุดท้ายของเกมนะครับบุรีรัมย์นำอยู่ 1-0 นะครับทาบินาสให้ธนกฤษคืนมาลูกนี้โอ้โหจักรพงศ์ครับลงไปช่วยเกมรับและดูกล้าเล่นด้วยครับจักรพงศ์เปิดติดบล็อกบอลไม่ออกมาเข้าทางธนกฤษดูเกาทาบินาสดูเกาลุยไปจังหวะนี้เตะอัดยังได้อยู่ขวดมาอีกทีนึงบอลมาอยู่กับธีรทรยังแกะไม่ออกจากแดนตัวเองนะครับแล้วแทงมาโอ้โหชอบ
เตือนมากๆนะครับเพราะว่า5เกมก่อนหน้านี้ยิง4จ่าย1เท่ากับว่าในเกมที่6กลายเป็นประตู
นี่ครับดูเกาพลิกไม่ผ่านคือไม่ได้เป็นนักเตะสไตล์แบบพวกลากลุยนะครับดูเกาจะเป็นตัวคุมจังหวะตรงกลางมากกว่านะครับ
แต่ว่าจังหวะเก็บบอลทำได้ดีนะครับดูเกาเรียกฟาวล์ได้ครับจังหวะนี้ได้ดูลูกฟรีคิกครับบุรีรัมย์
ก็เป็นอีกอาวุธเสริมอีกตัวนะครับของ